All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to go over yesterday's update of 3.6. We touched on these changes on the prior video, but we do have the full patch notes today. So let's just jump right into it. So start off, they've updated the store. Looks like there's a few new camos on there. You can see here one looking sharp with the shotgun. They've also added another boxing skin similar to what we saw in season 1, this time with being a white and gold theme. They've also added some exclusive contracts for sports gear. Looks like it's more tailored towards the Olympics that are going on right now. They do have Twitch drops going on right now throughout this world tour stop as well. Seems like the theme is going to be related towards the Olympics. I have completed those, and it's a bronze, silver, gold kind of chest emblem, and then you do have a weapon charm that looks like a torch. I haven't looked at any of these in game, but the weapon charm does look like it is a torch, so I'm thinking we're going Olympic theme there. As far as balance changes, we'll get into it right here. We've got the gadget. So the goo grenade is increased the time that it takes for the fire to destroy the goo from 6 seconds to 12 seconds. So when the goo is lit on fire, it will now take twice the time to completely be destroyed by that fire, previously being 6 seconds, and moving forward it will be 12 seconds. As far as game mode, we touched on all this yesterday, but I'll real kind of briefly go over it again. So cash out, kills have gone from $2 to $500. You get 30% of the cash out box as soon as it is put into the cast station, and then you're defending for the remainder. The vault spawn logic at the start of the match has been changed for more even distribution. They've added new notification messages to the HUD for when cash is awarded to a team. So what was not included in the previous release was this little tidbit here. They have increased the time taken to steal a cash out from 6 seconds to 7 seconds. I'm not really sure why, but now when you go to steal a cash station, it will be 7 seconds to steal that versus the previous 6 seconds. The devs do note right here that they felt for some time that cash out generates more third-party fights than they intended, as well as long-lasting team versus team encounters that don't really benefit or incentivize anything within the scoring system. They do stress that they are testing these changes to see if they address these issues that they've explained and if they improve the overall experience. These changes have been selected for the rule set for this particular stop in World Tour. They're going to monitor and see how everything performs. So these changes that they've laid out for cash out are not guaranteed to stay. So we could see in the next coming weeks changes that revert back to how they used to be, or maybe they'll tweak things to make them a little bit more in line with how the community wants cash out to actually play. As far as ranked terminal attack, these were gone over yesterday as well. So destruction is reset at halftime. No needing to reload the level. They go over again the changes to the health regeneration based on which class you are playing. Specializations, they have changed a few of the specializations as well. So evasive dash for the lights, they have increased the cooldown duration from 5.5 seconds to 6.5 seconds per charge. The goo gun, they have increased the time it takes for fire to destroy goo from 6 seconds to 12 seconds. So similar with the goo grenade, same out of the goo gun, it will be 12 seconds for fire to destroy goo. Moving forward, the grapple hook has decreased the cooldown duration from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. And the healing beam, they have decreased the time taken until the healing beam can overheat from 7 seconds to 5.5 seconds. They do note that overheating is something that healing beam users rarely have to manage. So that's why they've lowered the overheat time, which means that players may need to be slightly more controlled in their use of it. Moving on to weapons, the only buff or any kind of changes going on with weapons in the 3.6 patch is, as mentioned, the 93R. They have slightly decreased bullet dispersion when firing from the hip in all stances, making the weapon more accurate. Decreased the amount of horizontal recoil when firing the 93R, making it easier to control and more precise. And they've slightly tightened the cluster of bullets fired in a burst, making the weapon also more precise. Content and bug fixes. Contracts, they've updated text on some of the contracts to say they are earned for rounds, not matches. And they've also added additional contract types. Gadgets, as general fixes, they fixed an issue where gadgets could become locked and unable to be used or fired. The goo grenade, they have fixed an issue where the goo could stick to the side of a warm-up zone in the terminal attack modes. Game mode, so with private matches, they've added the ability to pause the match in private matches. Anybody in a spectator slot can pause the match as well using the R button. World Tour, they fixed an issue where the elimination outro screen at the end of a tournament would not show up correctly. And in ranked terminal attack, they've adjusted how rank score or RS updates are calculated for parties. The dev notes that this should lead lead to more intuitive RS changes for parties with smaller RS differences between all the members. Parties with higher RS differences between members will see an appropriate update based on their own RS. The dev notes that this should lead to a more intuitive RS change for parties with smaller RS differences between all of the members. Party with higher RS differences between members will also see appropriate changes based on their own personal RS. This should mean that RS changes moving forward will be better based on match results and more aligned with RS gained being larger when you beat stronger teams and being less RS gained when you're beating weaker teams in terms of the overall RS score for that team. Moving on to specializations, general fixes. They fixed an issue where some specializations could be locked or unable to be fires used as well. Also with the goo gun, they fixed an issue where goo could stick to the side of the warm-up zone in terminal attack modes. They've also made some adjustments to the game's UI. So the game summary screen, they have brought back the death statistic to the summary. So it will now actually show the amount of deaths you and your teammates had versus previously deaths were nowhere to be seen. They also brought back the mixed cap style font. Not sure, I didn't even know that they changed any of the fonts. So the mixed cap style font is back. On the front end menus, they fixed several issues that could result in out of memory crashes. And they've also fixed an issue where having text chat open could block some button inputs. Changes to the HUD were that they fixed an issue where the colorblind settings would not update in the terminal attack score widget. They've made some changes as well to the ping system. They've changed the default ping intent on cast out stations owned by the enemy teams to attack. Jump pads now generate an event log when pinged. Fixed an event log message that had incorrect player name data. They updated an event log message text from going to Vault X to move to Vault X. This is to bring it in line with the instructional pings, and they also added a new HUD icon for pinging player statuses. Weapons, they fixed a general issue as well where weapons could become locked or unable to be fired or used. That seems to be pretty straightforward through all of the changes here, whether it be weapons, gadgets, specializations, they all seem to have that exact same issue. As far as that is it for the patch notes on 3.6. This is a pretty big update. As far as the changes with cash out is concerned, I have played a few games and I am still up in the air on if I think they're good or bad. I don't necessarily mind the cash awarded for kills being increased from 200 to 500. I also don't necessarily mind the 30% being awarded to the team that inputs the cash box into the station. What I am not liking so far is the removal of the team wipe penalty. I do feel like, at least in my limited experience, I'll give it a little bit more to kind of go with it and see how it is. In my experience so far, it is making the top team untouchable, especially if they do have a decent lead above people that are in third or fourth place. It also, in my opinion, takes away from the mode itself. Cash Out's game mode is what kind of set the finals apart, in my opinion, from all the other FPSs that are out on the market today. That game mode was specifically unique to this game. And them taking the team wipe penalty away, one, playing with randoms I do believe is harder because now there isn't an incentive to stay with your team and play together when you are playing with randoms and you don't have a party. Everyone in my experience so far has kind of just gone off and, done their own thing. You're not penalized for making, silly or risky plays. You're not having to strategize as much as you used to. I think that's detrimental to the mode. I'm going to give it a couple more days to see how I really feel about it. I personally am leaning towards, while maybe you don't need a 30% reduction in your cash when you're team wipe, I think there is a better middle ground than just completely removing it entirely. I personally would like to see maybe 10 to 20%, somewhere in that medium, as far as when you get team wipe, that's what you lose instead of the old 30%. We will see if they listen to the community. Looking on the Discord server, it seems like I am not alone in this sentiment. A lot of people are unhappy with the team wipe penalty being removed, but we'll see what goes on moving forward. They did state that these changes are just specifically for this stop in the World Tour, so next stop we'll have to see if they revert these changes or maybe they make some further tweaks to them. Anyway guys, that's going to be it for today. Thank you for coming to the channel, watching the video. If you liked it, drop a like below, leave a comment, tell me what your thoughts on the changes, and we'll catch you on the next one.